In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Merry Christmas to all of you. I'm not shocked that you're going to hear 3 sermons, but I'll try to make it as short as I can. In few words, on that great day, on that great feast, we used to ask ourselves or to hear sermons saying, what should we give to God on that day? God who came for us, who came for our salvation, He accepted to take the form of a bond servant for our salvation. What should we give Him? But actually, I got another idea the other day, and I'll tell you later from where I got this idea. That instead of thinking what we should give to Him, actually, firstly, we should understand and comprehend and know very well that He is the greatest gift we had. His nativity and His coming in the form of a bond servant, taking our nature, is the greatest gift we had on this day. And it's not something like a memory or a memorial the people use for the greatest events on their life as persons or as nations. They kept records of certain dates because they represent a great memory, and they made memorials for these memories just to keep remembering these great events. But actually for us, we are not doing that at all. But Jesus is with us, and His name is Emmanuel, which means God with us. And this is something which is renewed every day and every moment. He's among us today. He's on the altar, and we're going to take His blood and His body. So He is present. He is the greatest gift. I want to state some verses that confirm this idea that Jesus is for us the greatest gift we had or we are given. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, for unto us a child is born, for us, He is the greatest gift we had. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon His shoulder. And His name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God. This Son, and by the way, you see how much the prophecies of the Old Testament tells the mystery of the incarnation, how God is incarnated and became man. So this child, which will be born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon His shoulder, and His name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father. Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This is what we are given. This is the greatest gift we had. The same idea St. Paul is saying on the book, the first epistle to the Corinthians, chapter 1. He's saying, but of Him you are in Christ Jesus, who became for us. Wisdom from God and righteous and sanctification and redemption. He came for us. Same idea on the Hebrews, on the Pauline epistle read for us today on the liturgy. From the Hebrews, the first chapter and the first verse. God, who at various times and in various ways spoke in time past to the Father by the prophets, has in these last days spoken to us by His Son, whom He has appointed heir of all things. So He came to speak to us, to reveal the mystery of the Holy Trinity, to give us the great salvation. So He came for us. He is the true gift we had. He is the greatest gift. And sure, we should give him our life, but I mean, we should firstly understand that he is the greatest gift, the pearl of the great price. When someone was looking for great pearls, when he found it, he went to sell everything he had to buy this greatest pearl. And actually will be asked and will be blamed if we didn't accept and appreciate this great gift. That's why St. Paul said here on today, also in today's reading from the epistle of St. Paul to the Hebrews, therefore we must give the more earnest heed to the things we have heard, lest we drift away. So we should give the greatest, as St. Paul is saying, we should give the more earnest heed to the things we have heard, lest we drift away. How shall we escape? And later on he said, how shall we escape if we neglect so great a salvation, which at the first began to be spoken by the Lord? He came to tell us that he came for our salvation, and was confirmed to us by those who heard him, the disciples and the apostles. So we will be asked if we didn't appreciate and we consider this great gift. As I try not to make it too long for you, from where I got this idea, I got it from a video I have seen, and I highly recommend that you should see it. It's about a child. He was an Irish child. He died at the age of 12 years old. His name, I don't know if someone have seen that or not, his name is called Garvan Byrne. Garvan Byrne, Garvan, Byrne, Byrne. And I recommend that you go and check it on the YouTube. You're going to see an edited video for an interview made with him before his death by 2 months. He died at the age of, as I said, 12 years old. He was born on March 20, 1973 and passed away on 1985, April 13 or 15, something like that. So he lived just 12 years old. But the interview is inspiring. It inspired me a lot. They met him before in the hospice, waiting for his death, before his death by 2 months. And they talked to him about his death. And he talked open. And one Catholic sister made this interview with him. And she asked him about death. And he said, she asked him, are you frightened from the idea of being to die? He said, I should admit that in the very beginning it was very frightening for me. But when I thought of the loving Jesus, that's how he is calling him, the loving Jesus who is waiting for me, and he is preparing for me a place where there is no sorrow, it's all joy, all happiness. When I thought of that, I felt very happy and very, very relaxed. And she asked him about the Eucharist. You know, the Catholics, they had the First Communion. So he shared his experience of his First Communion. And he said words, I will make it less than it is if I told you. So you should see yourselves the depth, the theology, from a child. He is not graduated from a seminary, but that is very simple and very natural experience. He talked about his First Communion and he said, I felt like God and man has met on the banquet. And God is giving his gift, his only begotten Son. The Father is giving his only begotten Son as a gift for man. I mean, I can imagine how a child on that age, you should see it. And he talked about being taken from his family. He said, I'll be with them. They might not see me, they might suffer, but I'm sure that God will provide for them. God will consult them, and and we will meet. I will meet my grandfather right now. He talked very deeply in the faith, in Christian faith. You should see this video. But the thing is, he said that Jesus is the gift we are given. We cannot give him anything. He is the greatest gift we have. The only thing we should do is to accept this gift and appreciate it, and live being indebted to God who has given us himself. Another story I would like to conclude by it, also about another child. It's called Billy, and he had leukemia, and he died at the age of 6. Sorry for the stories, yeah. But about the idea of what happened with Jesus, the meeting he had on the manger with the angels around, and they were singing. It happened. It happened again with the child. I'm going to tell you his story now, which tells that we are not just trying to remember memories, but they are facts we are living every day. But the problem that we should see them spiritually. This child, he had leukemia, and by the end of his time, her mother was very sad, but she wanted to make him happy. So she asked him, "What do you think to do when you will grow up?" He said, "I want to be a fireman." So she wanted to make his dream come true. So she went, this was in Phoenix, Arizona. So she went to the fire department and asked them if they can give him the chance to have a ride on a fire engine for some time. So there was a chief there, the chief of the department. He was a nice guy who had a big heart. He said, "We can do better than that. We can have his size and make him have the uniform of the fireman, and we have the hat of a true one, not a toy, a true one, a true hat for the fireman, and we can have him on one day to spend the whole day with us as a fireman, as an honorary fireman." And actually he came and he ate with the fireman, and they had 3 pools. He went out on these 3 pools with them, and actually, because this had cheered him up, he lived 3 months more than they expected. And at the end of his life, maybe one day or one night, actually, all the signs of his body was going down. So they called his family to be with him while he's dying. And the nurse there remembered that he wanted to be a fireman. So she called the fire department and said, "Can you come just or send one of your firemen to be with him? Maybe this will make him happy on his last hours or minutes." So the man again, he said, "We can do something better than that. We'll come with the sirens screaming and with the lights flashing, but you should tell all the people in the hospice that there is no fire, and we'll come from the window to his bed." And they went to him and they hugged him, and so the child was dying. So with very weak breath he said, "Chief, am I now a fireman?" He said, "Yes, you are a fireman, and our head chief, Jesus, is coming. He sent us to be with you." So the child answered, he said, "I know. He is with me all day, and the angels are singing around me all day." And this is what the last thing he said. I mean, he enjoyed the presence of Jesus. What happened in the manger happened with this child. He had Jesus himself with him. He had the angels with him. So we are not remembering dead memories. but we are living renewed events by the presence of God among us with His angels. And glory be to God forever.